Moving on to the next player. Again, we briefly mentioned him a few times in some of our episodes, but we got to talk a little bit more about Chris Boucher and his impact that he's been making this season with the Toronto Raptors. And again, he was in the most improved player discussion earlier on in the season. I think players like Julius Randle and other players on this list, like Jeremy Grant, kind of overlapped him in that sense. But Boucher's been having a great season, man. He's averaging about 13.6 points a game, 6.7 rebounds, averaging about 1.9 blocks per game, which is pretty impressive. Shooting 52% from the field and 39% from three. He's been fantastic this season for the Raptors, man. Not only has he gotten better this season at finishing at the rim, but his consistency shooting the three ball and his overall confidence is just far better than previous seasons, man. I think that was always the biggest thing with Boucher is that we all knew he had the talent. We all knew he had the potential, but I think what he needed was to get that consistency and to have that confidence in the game where, if he's open, if he's able to shoot the ball. And now you're seeing him hit step back threes, like what did he hit? Like catch and shoot buzzer beaters. Like he's great. Then on top of that, he's finishing at the rim. He's being still a solid defensive player, being a rim protector, being able to guard the perimeter to a degree, and then the biggest thing for the Raptors the impact that he's making for the Raptors is being that spark off the bench. The Raptors have had an abysmal bench unit this season, and the lone bright spot has been Chris Boucher, man. And honestly, man, he's even been a starter. Like him playing with the Raptors starters has also, been great for him this year. He's been he's one of those players that, again, when you look at him and you look at some of his shooting form and some of the way he does things, you think he's not that great of a player. But when you actually watch his full game and watch the impact he makes, it's there, man. And the thing with Boucher is he's 28 years old now. This is kind of the peak at what we're going to get with Chris Boucher, which means he still has some limitations, as far as his physicality, being able to guard bigger players and make an impact against those type of players. But I think
rebounding.
But I think we've seen now this season, when utilized correctly, when playing like even the power forward spot or, being used as a bench unit, as a six man, he's at least proven that he's a very solid and capable role player in this league.
Yeah, man, Chris Boucher, even us as Raptors fans, I don't think we can say that we expected this level of production for Chris Boucher. But to your point, like Chris Boucher, just this season, he knows what to do now, right? Yeah. Whereas last season, you saw the raw potential for him, but he was kind of just like on the court doing whatever you wanted, kind of not knowing exactly what to do. This season, he knows what to do. He knows where he'll get his shots. He knows where to roll, where to pop at these times. He knows when to rotate on the at the rim. Mm-hmm. He knows when to run to the perimeter. He knows what to do now, and that's the biggest thing for him. And then, in addition, on the offensive side of the ball, he can legitimately score the ball now. Whereas before, his consistency was a huge issue. Now he's popping threes at a very good clip, right? He can score the ball at all levels now, and you've seen him expand his game as the season goes on. You're talking about off the dribble shooting now. You've seen him pull out more off the dribble shots in the last month or two now. So he's been expanding his game even more, and he's just been great all around for the Raptors, especially the fact that they've kind of needed him to be this good for them. To your point, when he was starting, right? Especially when you have pretty much no capable centers on the roster, and Chris Boucher kind of has to slide in at the center spot. He's performed capably in that spot. And now with guys like Freddie Gillespie and Ken Burch there, Chris Boucher can now slide back to more of his natural role as a power forward, which Nick Nurse even talked about in one of his press conferences, talking about what the plan was for Chris Boucher next year. And Nick Nurse pretty much said that he would be exclusively a power forward / center sometimes when they needed him. So for him to now be able to slide back to his normal position as a power forward and showcase what he did already as a power forward / center before Ken Burch and Freddie Gillespie came to the team, that just bodes well for him moving forward, especially the fact that the Raptors have him on a relatively cheap contract for next season. So Chris Boucher has been absolutely fantastic for the Raptors in a season where they've needed him to do what he does.
Yeah, he's been definitely great this season.